Legends, 3 rounds remain here. We're going to kick it off with our team list for round 23. We got the Bunnies v the Panthers to kick off our Thursday night game. Would have been nice if Cleary would have been there. Yeah, it's more fun to watch for us, given he's usually our captain than having Luai in there as well. But definitely that niggle would have been funny to watch. But Bunnies v Panthers. Not too much has changed for the Buns, given they've been playing super well. They basically line up the same. The main issue there is Latrell had his small groin issue yesterday morning at training, and sounds like he'll be okay, but just be aware, and obviously it being first game is very helpful, so try and have some wing fullback cover ready to go. Mr. Campbell Graham returns from his cheekbone injury, so that's obviously ideal as well. We still see Taylor May out for the Panthers, and we see Dylan Edwards come back. Obviously, it was a late out on Thursday night last week. So we see Taruva still in that spot, in Taylor May's spot there. Robert Jennings moves out of the side. Guys like Salmon and O'Sullivan, I still think are solid guys to play, but obviously up against a nice, strong team again this week. Don't expect the world, but something decent around that, anywhere between 35 and 55 for both of them together there. Best option here is Isaiah Yeo. We've obviously got Abby Coruscant, who scored well last week also. If we move down from there, we have the Cowboys v the Warriors, and the Cowboys looking to bounce back with a nice win here. Thankfully, it's not in New Zealand, because they definitely play a few times better than they do overseas, that's for sure, and makes sense in front of their own home fans. But the Cowboys there, very much unchanged with how well they've been playing. We just see Kyle Felt come back onto that wing, which is good, and Hamiso heading back to the bench. So other than that, very much the same for the Cows. And if you're looking at Cotter, I think he's a great guy you can pop in your squad this week. And we're seeing Lucy Leilua play big minutes as well. So if you're looking in that 500 range, then he could do a job for that last 3 weeks with them ramping him up to a nice big minute role. Just given him, obviously very shows that he's got plenty of potential to score and help us out on that left edge when he comes on. So he's definitely someone to think about. On the Warriors, guys, I wouldn't be thinking too much of. Obviously, Dejan Arce now, he's a little bit more expensive than he was last week. He scored okay. Probably will score just okay again against the Cowboys. You've got Tohu Harris, who's averaging solidly as well. Anyone else in here, I wouldn't look at trying to bring in an Aiken or anything like that this week. Just be conserving your last trade for any injuries that pop up in this one. For example, if you have one left and no wing fullback cover, and Latrell happens to not play this week, it might be ideal just to bring in a wing fullback. Not for Latrell, just because he will be back in round 24 and 25, but just someone to bring in as cover to help that out. But hopefully you do have that cover available. Broncos v the Storm here, and on the Broncos side, really not too much that's going on there. We see, actually, the interesting news of the day is that it sounds like Penrith Panthers have signed Zach Hosking to a 2-year deal. So they just keep getting the good players, don't they? Like, it looks like he's come in and absolutely killed it in his first 2 games in the NRL. Very surprising that they couldn't sign him to a deal. And was he at the, what did he reckon? He was at the Knights before that, and they didn't want him either. So I don't know if there's something going on there, or that just these two teams have just let him go through the cracks, and you watch him go to Penrith next year with Kikau going as well, and he'll probably slot straight onto that side and do a great job. But yeah, I thought that was the interesting news out of the Broncos. Jerome Hughes is back for the Storm, so that helps them out, obviously, in a pretty important game to try and stay in that top 4. If they win 2 of their 3 matches, they will keep the Bunnies out, basically, of that top 4. So very important games for them. And if you've got guys like Munster, I think, big games to come from him and Harry Grant. I think Hughesy will just direct them around a little bit. Hopefully he can, obviously it's shoulder related, so he will still be fine on the running side of the ball. He'll still get his run meters, but it'll be interesting to see how he goes in contact. And if you do still own him, I did trade him out last week, then he'll be able to slot him, but don't expect the world from him. If you need someone in the hooking position, then Brandon Smith's a cheeky one, or the mids there that he's come in and he's improving week on week out, especially his scores, but also his gameplay, making plenty of tackles, running the ball well there. Eels v Dogs. So, a couple of interesting ones here. We've got Mitch Moses that potentially is back. I've said Brad Arthur, if you watched my latest video there, had him on there and said he's a great chance of playing this week. He'll be named and given every hope. He just has to get through the week. So usually that's about a 90% chance of returning. In that one, a lot of time they'll get named in reserves and then sneak in on game day, but looks like he should be fine. In terms of the Bulldogs, we have Luke Thompson and Tavita Pangai Jr. named in the reserves, so they're a chance to come in for sure this week. I think there's a great chance that they do, and you should see guys like either Harry Edwards or Jackson Torpany make way. along with someone like Batola or Stimson there. So they're the two guys I'd probably think would lose their positions. And then minutes wise, you probably see a little bit of a drop in potentially Raymond Fatala-Mariner or Maxi King, although he hasn't been getting huge minutes at recent time anyway. Matty Burton got out with a fine, which is ideal for anyone who owns him, and hopefully a better game on his front. But you could see the Eels come out and absolutely dominate this one, given they had a shocker last week. Eagles v the Sharks. Should see a big win from the Sharks here, just with how they've been playing Manly of recent time. I still can't believe what they've done to this club. As soon as that, the Pride saga happened, they've just been horrendous, and that was pretty much the only way it was going to go. When coach is unhappy, the players are unhappy. Not gonna work out well. But guys like Garrick, I think it's a little bit of a worry game for him. Again, you're probably not going to be able to trade him out, but he's someone that I'm worried about his scoring this week. You'd hope for a bounce back from DCE, but definitely wouldn't be captaining him this week or anyone going forward. Olukwatu's there, and he'll still do his thing, but he hasn't been as good of recent times. So a few guys to worry about when Kohler moves to the wing. So again, you're probably going to have to play him if you don't have any cover there, and he'll probably be there as cover if Latrell does happen to not play. For the Sharks, we don't see too much on the change front apart from poor Toby Rudolph, who's out for it looks like it to be a month. Aiden Tolman comes onto the bench and will fill part of that role. So you got Hamlin Ueli and Royce Hunt, the two big fellas up front. And hopefully McInnes, again, for those that own him, gets some big minutes out of him as well. Hynes is still a great captaincy option in this one, and you could probably play Katie Dykes in this one if you did bring him in. And again, if not, you could use him as some cover. Roosters v the Tigers, again, very limited on the changes front. So the Roosters side of the ball, we see Lindsay Collins and Takaaho still out, so nothing changes for them, but they are close. Just be aware of that they are definitely getting there, and there's really no point in bringing them back, I'd say, until probably the last round before finals, so they can, unless they are needed to get into a good spot. I think that'll be the smartest, get them some game time and then have them raring to go, ready for the final series. In terms of the Tigers, we see Kemba Marlowe back, which is not the biggest in, let's be honest. And Seyfarth added to the bench with Peachy moving out of that side. So not ideal, and you've got Brooksy and Uto Ikamanu, who are not expected back until round 24. So again, not too important for fantasy at this point of the season. Dragons Titans, a couple of games to go. Dragons side of the ball, really, the only person you'd be looking at is Jackie Bird, who had a great game last week. And again, if he manages to stick in that 13 role, then I think he can score well again, like he did last week. On the other side, Aaron Clark is just hemorrhaging cash now. Obviously, that doesn't matter too much, but probably look to not play him if you have someone you think can hit about a 40 over Aaron Clark. When he's in a 13 role, he was killing it, but not anymore. Dave Fafita, he's obviously there and scored great last week, and I think he can have another good game in this one. So he's a sneaky option if you need someone around that price point who's not too expensive there. And obviously we get Tino back as well. So we have Knights v Raiders as the, and it seems like a bit of a boring finisher. Raiders clearly need to win and win well to get anywhere near the top 8 and hope for some losses from the Roosters, for example. But on their side of the ball, we see Joseph Tarpany back in the forwards there, and for anyone who held him, you're really, really happy about that one. And really not too much to say on the Knights side. They're falling apart a bit at the moment. We've got Brad Bess and Nari Tuala who've been stood down for this week. So they've got a debutant, I believe, Mapapa Langi, who gets his chance in the centres, which is pretty cool. But again, I think they're going to be in a little bit of strife. Only guys I think will score well this week: Jones, Frizzell, potentially Brayley and Clemmer there. Raiders were hoping for a bounce back from Adam Elliott, so good to see him still named in that position. And if you have Foggs or White, and they should be able to score decently this week, and hopefully a good score from Tarpany if you own him. But that's pretty well it for this video, guys. I hope that helps you guys out with your potential trades or just setting up your team for the week. And thank you all for being here for the year. Like, subscribe, guys, if you are new here. Welcome, and I'll catch you in the next few videos. See you later.